Also, what I was thinking is um, because the Earth has its sort of atmosphere, and things burn up in it, that we could add an additional thing to the treaty where, or to space treaty, where certain masses that are large enough to fall to the Earth aren't allowed to come near the Earth. And then on other parts of Gaming the Post, like I was doing things like, say, if an RSDB broke down, then I would want harpoons to go and retrieve it, you know, and but yeah, the atmosphere of the Earth. So you'd want mass restrictions because you'd have certain. I mean, you're gonna wind up having private individuals who have their own ships. Like say they purchase a concrete vessel that was built on the moon from whatever that company is, and then they purchase the fuel from Venus. So later on, there will be private individuals, like with their own ships, doing their own things, but there has to be mass restrictions. And so I was thinking that eventually you could have like cruisers that patrol the Earth, like a Coast Guard, and intercept, anything that's gonna threaten, the home planet, and enforce the laws, like the mass restrictions or whatever, whatever else, like laws we're going to decide to make there. So it's I mean, it's really cool, and we could do it, but that's. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I had to talk about with it. Yeah, I mean, Mars is going to be, a place where we get to perform our life sciences and try to do those experiments. And then I was thinking, like, later on, I mean, this is like a couple hundred years from now, but, or whatever. I mean, it could be 50 years from now, but, that the facilities that we have placed, like the water ice mining facilities, those eventually have people there, and then at Venus you eventually have people there, like an orbital city that's got its own internal economy from the working class, and then all of the various jobs and businesses that support the working class, and so I was picturing cities at the Orcs facility at Venus, and a city on the moon, and a city on Mars, and a city out there in the outer sphere, So, I mean, it stretches out, I mean, we're talking about time, so it stretches out over a long time, and it's hard to do the predictions, like, as the farther out that you go, it's hard to sit there and extrapolate, because you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what we're going to find, you don't know what, is coming the next day. So like I wanted to break it down to like what we could do right now, you know, to provide the infrastructure for the future, that we can begin to go out and do these things. And and so, you know, that's where I came from. Uh, you know, especially on Gaming the Post, you can really only do it in the inner solar system. I mean, in within the solar system. Once you get done building the infrastructure and you do these different scenarios of, you know, what might happen, what could happen, and that's because we know like a lot about the solar system, but we don't really know much about anything else. I mean, we don't know anything about like Alpha Centauri or whatever, so you can't really like game the post there. You can't take and draw a map of that solar system and say this is what we're going to do, this is where these resources are. So you're going to want to be able to send out just, you know, something that's going to be able to map that solar system so that you can begin to do that. And I mean, you know, so that has to be a universal type thing too, you know, with universality, where you, and I was thinking something like a bomb, you know, for a probe. I don't know why, but because like an explosion in space would spread everything out, you know, and so like you launch something like going the speed of a comet or whatever, and it gets to that point and then it goes boom, and then like all these like mini probes go out over that whole like star system and then map it or whatever. But you know, we'll see what happens.